Good morning. It is Monday, February the 20th, 2023. I'm Pearson Bowen. This is the CBC Morning Report. One of the major developments coming out of the recently concluded 44th CARICOM Heads of Government Summit is the participation and commitment in the region of the Afrexim Bank. That's according to Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM, David Comishong. He says the bank's president, Dr. Benedict Oke Orama, came with his full team and outlined concrete and dynamic proposals for its relations with CARICOM.
They are financing studies to create a Caribbean export-import bank. We are looking at how we could use their Pan-African payments and settlement scheme as a mechanism for facilitating trade right across our region. You would recall we used to have something called the CARICOM Multilateral Clearing Facility. It collapsed in 1980, and since then we have not had a regional mechanism for financing trade, so that countries, CARICOM countries, don't have to be looking for hard currencies to trade among themselves. So that they're also working with they're also going to be working with the Caribbean Development Fund, the CARICOM Development Fund, to produce a new financing instrument to finance development in the Caribbean, a Caribbean development bond. They are investing in a geothermal plant for St. Kitts and Nevis. It is just magnificent to see how much ground we can cover together when Africa and the Caribbean come together. And it has now happened, and it has happened in a very concrete and substantial way.
Ambassador Comishong also gave his views on the situation with Haiti, indicating what position CARICOM has adopted.
The current interim administration in Haiti has called for some kind of security intervention. However, there are many civil society organizations in Haiti that are not supporting that call. So a number of these organizations believe that the security situation could be brought under control if there were a kind of political consensus, a kind of political pact among the major sectors of the society as to how they go forward in restoring the country to constitutional legitimacy, getting a humanitarian assistance program in place, a international developmental pact for Haiti in place. What was significant at this Heads of Government conference is that we saw a very substantial sign that the leadership of CARICOM has accepted full responsibility for Haiti, that CARICOM has finally accepted that the primary responsibility for solving the crisis in Haiti is not the UN, it's not the OAS, it's not the US or Canadian governments. It is CARICOM. Haiti is our member state. And we also saw a very realistic conception of what needs to be done, in that the heads have said that in short order, they will be holding a meeting with the major Haitian stakeholders in Jamaica. That meeting is expected to be as early as next month.
We'll take a break right here on the CBC Morning Report, but when we come back, we'll hear about what lessons were learnt by the tourism sector from the impact of COVID-19.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit. testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth. Books or
The Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association says there are lessons for countries in the region to learn from the impact of COVID-19 on the important tourism sector. President Nicola Madden-Gregg says the pandemic has shown how important the industry is, given its linkages to many other sectors. The CHTA head was among the panel for a discussion on the road to global sustainability and development at the just concluded Global Tourism Resilience Conference in Jamaica.
There is no question anymore of the value of tourism. And, we have said we see countries like Dubai embracing tourism and looking at how they can use that to push forward their economy. And if they, which have oil, is using tourism in such a strong way, why should we in the Caribbean shirk from that? And I think that is one of the things that COVID has taught us. It has taught us the value of the tourism. It has really emphasized how much of a driver it is and how much you can build it and use it as a pillar to develop everything else.
Executive Chairman of Sandals Resorts International, Adam Stewart, has given the region top marks for its pace of recovery following COVID. He's reminding countries their brand is important.
The Caribbean states are finite. The beach lines and shorelines are finite. And there's a multitude of things that have to happen within that industry to appeal. You have villas, you have boutiques, you have EP hotels, you have all-inclusive hotels, you have restaurants and gastronomy, you have entertainment, you have retail. There's a multitude of things that have to happen concurrently to make your destination fascinating. Your headline title, Brand Jamaica, Brand Barbados, Brand Turks and Caicos, any one of the islands is sacrosanct. And what people think about those names when they hear it is critical to the velocity of what we'll be able to create on a go-forward basis.
Trinidad and Tobago's Minister of Tourism, Randall Mitchell, is assuring the floating hotel on board the Rhapsody of the Seas is not a one-off event for Carnival 2023. The cruise ship docked in Port of Spain on Carnival Friday and remains berthed until Ash Wednesday. We have more in this TTT report.
Royal Caribbean's Rhapsody of the Seas docked at the Port of Spain cruise ship complex on Friday, with the 1,000-plus visitors receiving the Carnival experience as soon as they stepped off. Tourism Minister Randall Mitchell promised that there are plans to make this an annual event, which adds to the room stock.
Mr. Johnny Mack of Epic Carnival Cruises, he announced that in 2024 they will not only be putting on the same cruise, but they will also be docking in Tobago on Ash Wednesday for an Ash Wednesday cool down party.
Mr. Mitchell said there are limitations since the berthing place is limited, but says it does assist to eliminate some issues.
During Carnival, the Carnival period, there are some transportation problems coming to Trinidad by air. Now we have an additional option where we can get up to 2,500 persons coming by sea via this cruise, and there is also the added flotel. We also have an issue with room stock at this time. All the hotel rooms are booked out. So this adds an additional, I believe, 1,200 to 1,500 rooms.
Several of the visitors hailed the move and said it was a hassle off their hands.
Normally you just fly in for Carnival, but instead when the party started on the cruise ship, and straight from the cruise ship to the Fed, it's great.
Food inclusive, alcohol inclusive, parties on board. We had a wicked all-white party last night, and then come off and get to go to the other parties on the country and then come back. Can't want to come back now.
The cruise done by Epic Carnival Experience is an all-inclusive hotel experience which sails from Barbados, where visitors have the freedom to disembark the ship at any time to partake in Carnival events.
Well, Grenada has found an alternative way to use breadfruit as the country hosted its first ever Breadfruit Festival. We hear more in this report from GBN.
It was all things breadfruit Breadfruit today on the Victoria Hard Court in St. Mark as the parish celebrated its first ever Breadfruit Festival. This staple food, which has become the main ingredient in our national dish, the oil down, was prepared in various forms and fashion. GBN engaged some of the vendors here on the hard court as they shared with us their various preparations.
Sampling some breadfruit pie, breadfruit salad and some stew turkey. Went down very good. I had some breadfruit pudding a while ago, was excellent. And also the punch.
So I decided I'll do a breadfruit cake, and I also did some breadfruit tacos with some breadfruit salsa. I made some breadfruit scones, and I also have some breadfruit cupcakes. Well, it's shaped like the cupcake, but it's actually the shell, and I filled it with the salsa.
Vendors shared their views on today's festival.
Festival like this just expand on the amount of things that you can make with the breadfruit, because most people believe breadfruit is only for oil down, but breadfruit can make a lot of things, right? As you can see from the different stalls.
I think it's a good initiative. As the people of St. Mark's, the parish come together. I think it's something good, very good, and I think we should continue and do a little bit more, a wide variety. I think so.
Bermuda's Premier, Dave Burt, suggests the looming global minimum tax could see some international companies pack up their bags if the cost of doing business proves too much. Given this, he has made a call for swifter immigration reform and population growth to counter any loss. We have a report from Bermuda Broadcasting.
The global minimum tax rate, advanced by the OECD, is set to be implemented this year, and it requires all countries to charge at least 15% on the profits of multinational companies. Bermuda has agreements with 8,000 exempt companies that prevents us taxing their income until 2035. But under the new scheme, if the country where a company is domiciled doesn't charge the full 15% tax, that company would have to pay the difference to another jurisdiction. Premier David Burt said Bermuda's existing taxes may need to be adjusted to keep businesses on island.
Bermuda's system of taxation, employer payroll tax and customs duty increase the cost of living and the cost of doing business in Bermuda. With a successful implementation of a global minimum tax, residents and businesses can likely expect further reduction in employer payroll taxes and customs duties to ensure the island remains competitive.
Government revenues from the global minimum tax could be inconsistent since they are based on profit. If, for example, an insurer reports a loss due to covering a major catastrophe, tax revenue could drop.
So whereas payroll tax and customs duties are always paid and represent a certain stream of tax revenue to the government, the same cannot be said for revenue that may come from the global minimum tax.
Government won't make any adjustments to domestic taxes until after the Tax Reform Commission reviews recommendations from the International Tax Working Group. These are expected in July.
The export of cattle from Belize to Mexico is expected to slow down this year. This decrease is the result of a combination of factors, which includes the decline in demand from Mexican buyers and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on commercial activity. However, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ministry of Agriculture, Servilo Beza, explains that there are some positive outcomes for the cattle industry from this downtrend.
I think this year we will have over 20,000, I would want to think between 25,000 26,000. Quite a few number of things though that has affected that in terms of our exports. Not bad things, good things. The weather has been more amenable. Last year it was raining more, so farmers didn't have that going to another distress store that their pastures were depleting and they had to hurry sell. Secondly, the price has gone up. So the more you hold your cattle and fatten it, the more money you'll make. So all of these things are slowing down, I would say, some of the trade in terms of cattle. But we still believe that our farmers will have a pretty good year this year.
Well, news outside our region now. Millions have been displaced and thousands live in camps and are completely dependent on aid following the earthquakes that have affected a wide area across southern Turkey and northern Syria. Al Jazeera's Asad Bag has more.
They survived the earthquakes, but now they're eager to save what's left in Nuradai. They will have to rebuild their lives, and everything matters. We called you to take out your belongings, the municipality worker says. Brother, his phone was under the rubble. How are you going to reach them? It took a lifetime to accumulate what people had. It was taken away in a matter of minutes.
What will we be upset about? Our belongings? I wish all of this was gone, so I didn't have to care about it.
From one of the shops, they salvage what they can. We're not looters, They're our own goods, they say.
We will try to survive. All we have is lost. What the state or people will give us in aid will only last a week, and then we will be hungry. We have children. We must survive, and what we built in the last 30 years is gone. We had 3 houses, and now we're in a tent.
In Karaman Marash, the search continues. Even at this stage, some cling on to hope as everyone falls silent. Rescuers use their equipment to search for any sign of life. The earthquakes took away lives and homes, but some things can't be taken.
We lost everything. I took some pages of the Quran out. Only memories left. Nothing else is left. It's all gone. Behind this was my shop. All the families are gone.
A page of the Quran lies in a box in front of a tent. The mutual rivalry of this world diverts you until you visit the graves, the verses say. To many, this city is now a graveyard.
China's recent advancements in space exploration have increased the demand for new talent. Beijing is looking for more scientists to join its space program to help realize its ambitious plans, and for the first time, researchers from Hong Kong have the opportunity to join. Al Jazeera's Jessica Washington reports from Hong Kong.
3, 2, 1, ignition.
China's space program has reached new heights in recent years. Among the biggest achievements, the construction of the Tiangong or Sky Palace space station, the completion of its first crew handover in orbit, and the Chang'e becoming the first spacecraft to land on the far side of the moon. Investment in what President Xi Jinping calls China's space dream has resulted in rapid advances.
I feel very proud of it as well, being a Chinese, because when you look at the history, the space program were actually mostly dominated by America. The technology competitions between China and the States has become more active in a sense. And there are many areas, and space is another thing.
Now Beijing is recruiting. For the first time, scientists from Hong Kong are eligible. They'll conduct experiments and work alongside career astronauts on the space station. After China's space agency launched a high-profile talent drive in October, the Hong Kong government told Al Jazeera it has recommended 40 candidates to Chinese authorities for further screening. The selection process still has some way to go, but anticipation is already building.
Being an educator, and then I really love to see that the Mainland government is actually paying a good attention of our students. That shows that our education system is actually doing very well. I hope that we can make it to the space, walking in the moon.
Feng Waiting is also excited about the opportunities. As a teenager, he took part in a space camp for students. He got to see astronauts training and visited some of China's space exploration facilities. Now the scientist is hoping his research in wind turbines can be put to use in the national space program.
It's just amazing that what we can achieve and what we have yet to explore in space. Currently, I'm thinking whether I can use some of my knowledge and expertise to see what I can contribute.
The city's space museum is where many young people get their first glimpse of the rest of the galaxy.
For young people, they may seriously consider, if they're interested in science, the way of science, the direction of their science research.
And it's hoped some of these young people will have a future beyond planet Earth.
United Nations investigators have visited Ukraine several times over the last year and say there is evidence war crimes have been committed. They say Ukrainian forces have also been responsible for rights violations, but significantly more crimes were committed by Russian troops.
The aftermath of a Russian attack in the northern Ukrainian city of Chernihiv last year.
On the ground, bodies of civilians. They'd been queuing outside a shop for bread when they were hit by shells and rockets. 15 people were killed, dozens injured. So you were standing around here? Natasha narrowly escaped death that day by taking cover by this wall. She was in the queue with her son and mother-in-law. She plays me a recording she made on her phone.
We heard explosions near us. It was very close. And then we saw lots of people running everywhere.
At the time of the attack, Chernihiv was a city under siege. Russian forces were surrounding it and shelled it almost daily. They destroyed power and water supplies. Evidence of what happened is still visible nearly everywhere. This is where people were lining up for bread that day. It is right in the middle of a residential area. And what prosecutors in the city say is that what happened on that day is a war crime, an indiscriminate attack on civilians.
Law enforcement agencies consider this a war crime because the main victims were civilians. Also, a pre-trial investigation found no evidence of Ukrainian military hardware that could be a legitimate target. Weapons were used indiscriminately.
All these marks, yellow marks, are the places of where rockets hit the buildings, make these
Marina Slobodyanuk works with a rights organisation called Truth Hounds that's helping prosecutors to build a case. It's collated evidence and used open source material, satellite imagery and social media to reconstruct what happened. Her team says it's traced the killings to a Russian unit that was positioned on the outskirts of the city.
We identified also the commander of this brigade, Oleg Kurygin, who might be liable and responsible for this very kind of attack.
Whether Oleg Kurygin or another officer was responsible for the attack on the bread queue might never be proved. Some investigators say he's back in Russia. It's clear that building legal cases and prosecuting alleged war crimes is a challenge. But for some Ukrainians, pursuing justice is at least one way of honouring the war's many victims.
Well, coming up this morning when you join me at 6:30 for Morning Barbados, they are both in their mid-30s and they both need your urgent help for a hip replacement surgery. The Rommels will join us as they share what it is that they still need to have to be able to stand tall again. When our relationship coach joins us this morning, we want to look at that question of, is it really the beholder? When there's a seemingly mismatch in the relationship, and we'll talk to her a little bit about that straight ahead at 6:30. Plus, we'll be celebrating the recent success of the Extreme Velocity Track Club in Canada. They are back. They'll share with us their success and a whole lot more. Stay with us. Morning Barbados is coming up at 6:30. The morning report comes back in just a moment.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for our new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook.
The cap on gasoline and diesel is now removed. The disclosure from the Ministry of Energy and Business, which says the full VAT of 17.5% will be reinstated. Introduced in August last year, the cap represented a reduction of 35 cents on gas, 25 cents on diesel, and was to be in place until the end of January this year. It was aimed at shielding consumers from full increase of refined petroleum products. The announcement comes as Barbadian consumers are this morning paying more for gasoline and diesel. Kerosene remains unchanged. Gasoline has gone up by 14 cents to $4.08 a litre, while diesel increased by 20 cents to $3.85 a litre. Kerosene continues to be $2.25 a litre. Several $1 million are earmarked for government to further develop its Youth Advanced Core program. That's according to the Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn, who's been telling Barbadians what to expect ahead of the estimates of revenue and expenditure debate, which starts today. Mr. Strawn says government is focused on driving growth in the next financial year, which includes about $30 million for construction of the geriatric hospital and $9 million to improve facilities for the Youth Advanced Core program.
That program was intended to ramp up to 2,000 over the course of 2 years. So therefore the residential facilities is critically important for the government being able to make a dent in those large numbers of people who may have left school over the last few years without any certification or opportunities, as a mechanism to help bolster what's happening with the other tertiary and technical vocational facilities.
Mr. Strawn says another $30 million will also be rolled out for road works, while emphasis will continue to be placed on digitization.
You've seen the launch of the digital payments systems, so the banks and the credit unions have launched the real-time automated clearinghouse, which will see payments happen instantaneously. And as that ramps up during the year, we expect to see obviously then greater efficiency between government and citizen, businesses and citizens, B2B transactions, so that takes a lot of the time to cash checks, the lines in the banks and stuff. We hope that citizens will be able to take that up so that we can see people spending their time much more efficiently.
Well, government is projecting $4.2 billion in spending for the next financial year and revenue of $3.5 billion. As Mr. Strawn explained, the estimates of revenue and expenditure is a way to allow for greater transparency in relation to government spending and will involve members of Parliament and public servants reporting to Parliament and the public. According to him, it's not the budget in any way that people know it. That, he says, will come after in a presentation by the Prime Minister. It was a nervy but West Indies women pulled off a narrow 3-run victory over Pakistan to keep their slim semi-final hopes alive in the ICC T20 World Cup in South Africa. The Windies posted a below-par 116 for 6 after winning the toss and batting at Boland Park. Wicketkeeper Rashada Williams top scored with 30 and captain Hayley Matthews 20. In reply, Pakistan needed 9 runs off the final 3 deliveries of the match, but were stopped short on 113 for 5 in their 20. Matthews returned to take 2 for 14. Here are the highlights.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented.
Let's together now take a look at forecast conditions as recorded at the Met Office this morning at 6 o'clock, bright and early. What's in the forecast for Barbados today? At the moment, 23.6 degrees Celsius, fair conditions abound. The winds are coming from the east at 27 kilometers an hour. We should expect today a low tide at 12 minutes to 10 this morning, the second at just about 10:30 this evening, and a high tide at 4:01 this afternoon. Seas today predicted to be moderate in open water, swells ranging from 2 to 2.5 meters and steady. That caution is to small craft operators and sea bathers. Barbados today, a mix of sunshine and clouds with a few brief isolated light showers at first, becoming mostly sunny. And in the forecast for tonight, mostly clear. A look at some forecast conditions for international cities. That's it for today's edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Pearson Bowen. Morning Barbados starts now.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning to you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today. Welcome to a brand new week. It is Monday, the 20th of February, 2023. I'm Pearson Bowen. So happy to see you indeed. Good. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. We all surely did too. And saying good morning to you as well if you're joining us on our streams on YouTube and Facebook. Now, coming up today, we meet the authors of some books. They have some stories to tell between the pages. We'll also today get a chance to celebrate the recent success of our athletes, our track and field stars in Canada with the Extreme Velocity Track Club. They have some sterling performances to talk about. We can't wait to hear. Have you ever seen one of those couples that made you go like, huh? No, how did that happen? And you raise your question and you ask yourself and you say, well, perhaps love is in the eye of the beholder. When it seems a little odd, that's what we're going to be talking about today with our relationship coach. But the Griffiths are here. The Rommels are also here. They have an urgent need for hip replacement surgery. They're still trying to raise the funds. They're still appealing to you, and they'll come by this morning to share with us what it is that they now need and how we can all help that particular need. Let's get started this morning by taking out the pages of the book called The Creepy, Creepy Tour. It's a book written by a Lucian lady. Her name is Dawn French. Dawn, good morning to you.
Good morning to you and your listeners and those following you on social media platforms.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. The Creepy, Creepy Tour, what's that about?
It's a ghost tour. It's a fictional ghost tour, but the twist is that the stories on the tour are real experiences. Some have actually appeared in the news over the years. So I've strung together real stories from the news and real experiences from people and made a fictitious ghost tour that goes around St. Lucia.
Are you serious? Real ghost stories, and somehow you've been able to fictionalize it? Wow.
Yes.
So,
now, Barbados being Anglo-influenced and St. Lucia being more Franco-influenced, the characters are totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah. From Barbados to St. Lucia.
At any point, did you doubt the veracity of those stories when they were told to you?
No, because this is, not so much maybe this generation, but you grow up with these stories. Your friends tell you the stories. I have had experiences with these stories. My mother has had experiences, my grandmother. So it's in the air. So, like when I first started to do it and I came on my social media platform and I said to my followers, people, give me some more stories. And it just flowed. We didn't have to invent one story in this book. Everything there, and I notice how I phrase it. It's a real experience.
Yes.
Because who are we to say what's true and what's not true when it comes to these sorts of tales?
So, for anyone who then picks up the book to read it, you're not going to be scared, are you? Or it just takes you through the journey of the facts, right?
It just takes you through the journey of the facts. Yes,
Good,
but
good.
some of them are, scary stuff. But we've got the Lajables and the Bolom, these characters in St. Lucia. So the character names that we are familiar with.
Well, that's good because for us in Barbados, we don't use those kinds of terms. We don't have that francophone experience. But nonetheless,
Yes.
it would be good for us to get to understand a little bit of how St. Lucians live, and those in the francophone Eastern Caribbean also have lived, and the stories you tell. So, how many collections of stories have you been able to put into the book? Creepy stories.
Oh, because you see, the story takes place over 3 nights.
Mm-hmm.
It takes Halloween, All Souls, and All Saints. It starts at midnight in a different cemetery in St. Lucia. So it's a real cemetery. So it's Shock Cemetery, Sufra Cemetery, and the cemetery at the Morn where the governors are buried. From colonial past, they had a military cemetery up here at Mont Fortune, and so the tour guide. I tell people the facts that the tour guide is given in the story are real. I researched it when the cemeteries were established. He was buried there, so that is factual. That is so you can read it as a history book if you want.
Yes.
And then they go off on the tour. So one example is that we had in the news a few years ago where they found a frog in the courthouse with its mouth stitched and the witness list was in the mouth.
Wow.
Yes, because the whole thing was about to silence who was ever going to be testifying, and all the names in there, the police and the police
Yes.
officer investigating and everything, was in the frog's mouth, and the frog's mouth had been stitched. And it was all over the news.
Mm-hmm. I remember that story.
2 years ago, there was a black altar in front of Bank of St. Lucia on Bridge Street. So, we're in 2023 and this thing is still around in St. Lucia. It's there if you know where to look.
Wow. The creepy tour. Is this your first writing?
No. I've got quite a few stories out there. If people are interested, I'm on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm known more for children's stories. So this is more like for teens and older.
Yes.
But I'm known for what's called the Peanut Tales, and she's a little girl. She's 8 years old, and in this story, she's 15.
Oh.
But yes, so she's on the tour with her uncle. So she wants to find out. She's all excited because she's a nosy little thing, and through her, the children learn a lot. So in this case, they're gonna learn about the creepy tour. But that book and the Peanut Tales and other writings by myself are available on Amazon.
And
You'll have to put A.L. Dawn French, because if you just put Dawn French, you'll get the British actress.
That's right, because I was saying the name is so familiar indeed. The British actress,
Yes.
she was a comedian.
Yes.
A.L. Dawn French is the name that you search for. A.L. Dawn French. And so the creepy tour is through the curiosity of a teenage girl, Peanut, who takes the tour with her uncle, and he takes her through many of those stories that are legendary.
The framework is that her uncle's friend is developing this tour, and it's now ready, and she's doing a test. So she's brought her friends for the test onto the bus because she needs the feedback. So during the story, you'll hear her saying, there's a survey form. Make sure you fill out the survey form because I need to know how to make the tour better. So this tour is an inaugural. It's a test.
Mm-hmm.
And when Peanut finds out that her uncle has been asked to go on the tour, she begs to be able to go with the uncle. And the mother finally says, okay, you can go, but it's midnight, and she wants her brother, take care of my child, please. And off they go on this creepy tour around the island, right around the island.
It sounds such a good book to read. I know a good book to read in the dark of night, because then you have the true Peanut experience as well on the creepy tour, taking you through those.
Independence in St. Lucia is on Wednesday, hence my colors on your show, because today is National Colors Day, so we're all encouraged to wear national colors.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thursday and Friday, we had the Independence Expo in downtown Castries, and it turned out to be the #1 seller on my table. I had copies on sale, and people just kept buying it. And then the British High Commissioner, I saw on Instagram this morning saying she read it, but she made sure she read it during the day.
Yeah.
And there's some sites around St. Lucia that she passes every day. She'll never look at them the same again.
And that's the whole thing. I've been to St. Lucia so many times, and I need to visit these places that you're talking about, so I too will have to get myself a copy of the book, Creepy Tour, the Creepy Tour, and go explore, go find indeed. And so for anyone who's on the island again, the books are available on Amazon. The author is A.L. Don French. Remember the name? A.L. Don French. And you can get the Creepy Tour. Get the experience that Peanut has had when she's gone to test the tour. That Creepy Tour that was designed and developed by her uncle. And so now she's taking us with her through the pages of the book, The Creepy Tour by A.L. Don French, indeed. And what are you looking forward to when Independence Day comes up this week? What are you looking forward to most?
The parade, the military parade is coming up, and during the parade we announce the national honors. So it's always exciting to see who the country recognizes and honors for their work over the years. We have so many unsung heroes, not only in St. Lucia, but in all the islands.
Yes.
And the national awards is a way for people in the community to nominate fellow people in the community. So sometimes you hear the names and you don't know them because you're not in the community. But when you hear the citation, oh my God, they've done so much work for this country.
Yes.
So I really enjoy following first the parade, all the excitement of the uniform groups and the police. But then during there, as I said, they read out the awardees for independence, and I really enjoy that. So I'm looking forward to that this year.
Well, we're looking forward to the day your name is announced as well. A.L. Don French as one of those serious contributors to St. Lucia. And you're following in the footstep of so many famous St. Lucians as well who've written and whose work is documented as well. What does it mean to you to be almost cast in the shadow of some of those famous St. Lucians?
It's awesome. I don't know, some people who are familiar with the literary circles in St. Lucia may know the name Stanley French. He was a playwright and he was my cousin, and he always used to be on my case, get it done. So I'm hoping, he's no longer with us. He's transitioned to the ancestors. So I'm hoping that he's looking down and he's saying, okay, my cousin in whom I'm well pleased.
Nice. Well pleased indeed. She's done it indeed. Get it done, and she's done it indeed. A.L. Don French, it's such a pleasure talking with you this morning. You're fantastic.
You so
the book.
I
can't wait to get a copy of the book. Folks, is on Amazon, The Creepy Tour. And it's a journey of Peanut testing the tour created by her uncle through some cemeteries in St. Lucia. It's a great book to read.
Remember, the experiences are true. None of the experiences are made up.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. They say, fact is stranger than fiction. So, some of the things in the book, you may scratch your head, but I assure you they are true experiences. They are real experiences that I have gathered. As I tell people, the only thing that teaches about the book is the tour.
I can't wait to take the tour. Thank you so much, A.L. Don French, for joining us. You're welcome. And happy Independence in advance to you. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, and have a good day.
Likewise. Thank you so much indeed. A.L. Don French is her name. The book she's written is called The Creepy Tour. It's available on Amazon, and you can go get it. And other books from A.L. Don French as well. Just search for her name and you will definitely find her writings right there. We'll take a break right here. We're coming back with more on Morning Barbados in just a moment.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League.
So we're 15 minutes now to go to the hour of 7 o'clock. Did you enjoy Holtown Festival on the weekend? I saw the reports. I didn't get a chance to go, but nonetheless, for all of you who've been, I'm sure you had a good time indeed. From the tattoo, the launch on Friday night, right through the rest of the weekend, many of you in your hundreds went out to Holtown to enjoy the festival. Well done. Well done. And thank you to the team at Holtown, the Holtown Festival indeed, for having us there on Friday. It was truly a pleasure. And to the folks at Best of Barbados, and the great things you have in your stall, your store right there. Thank you for sharing your property with us while we were there as well. Hope you all had a great weekend, because now I'm taking you to Trinidad and Tobago. It's Carnival Monday, and joining us this morning is Michelle Borrell. She's the author of 3. Look at her. Michelle, you're already in the mood. Carnival Monday.
I've never played mass in my life. I've never played Juve. And usually for Carnival, I'm in Barbados.
Really?
For work. But
what
it's
kind
usually the opportunity that I would use to catch up on any work that I have to do in Barbados.
Yes, yes. You know, that begs the question, what kind of Trini are you that you could leave your national festival? What kind of girl are you?
That is what I'm asked every time. But you see, Barbados is calling me. Because here it is. The one carnival that I stayed in Trinidad, I'm still connecting with Barbados.
Look at that, look at that. Because, actually, as a matter of fact, going on right outside of you right now, the bands are passing, aren't they?
Yes, the bands are passing, so you're going to hear a lot of music. It's Juve morning, so there's a lot of festivity taking place, and I'm in the heart of it all. I'm in Port of Spain. So
no
this
complaint.
is why you'll have that pump and that energy flowing from where I am.
No complaint from us at all, at all. I mean, but then again, if you don't mind me, I'm just doing a little bit of Carnival report for just a moment. Because last night you also had your Calypso finals.
Yes, that is correct. And the winner would have been Dwayne O'Connor.
Oh, okay, so my girl was dethroned.
And then if you're talking Pan, the winner of Pan would be the Renegades. So some exciting stuff happening.
I am telling you.
The next thing we're looking for is trying to figure out who's going to be Road March.
Yes, yes. Who do you think will be Road March?
Ooh, that is a very tight call. We have so many contenders this year.
Indeed. So, but still, give me one. Choose one. Who do you think you would like it to be?
You're putting me in a difficult situation.
Yes.
I plead the fifth.
Not a problem indeed. But you're here with us this morning because you're the author of 3 books. You have 3 wonderful books.
11 actually.
Yeah, so they're more than, you said?
11.
There are 11 books. But the 3 we want to talk about this morning are the ones Magic Words with Max, Now I'm 2, and Responsible Rosanna. Those 3 that you hold in your hand. Now talk to me a little bit about why you've compiled this particular trilogy here.
Well, it started with Magic Words with Max, and I was going through a very challenging time in which, adults could at times be not kind. And I think kindness is something that should be taught from a very young age. And it gave me the opportunity to really look at how we were within our family. And when I saw something that I would have been seeing for years, which is my mom handing my 2-year-old at the time a bottle and noticing that she would not release it until he said, "Thank you, Gani," and then she released the bottle. And this is how Magic Words with Max was formed. And I had the character based on my eldest. And then from that, I decided, you know what? My then 2-year-old.
It did not happen.
Now I'm 2. And then after Responsible Rosanna, which is based on my 3rd child, was then written. And I have a 4th book that's coming out soon, which is based on my 2nd child, my daughter. Oh, that looks lovely. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
And my 2nd child, her own is Dance with Emma. So I just found that it was a great way to celebrate motherhood, celebrate parenting, celebrate my children, celebrate all parents and all children.
Indeed,
and really encourage certain principles. Especially when children turn 2, there's a certain word that they love to put. before it, and I want to
Yes.
focus on terrific twos.
Yes, and you're quite right. And I like the fact that the book, The Magic Words with Max, because it's so
Yes.
important to instill in the children those things that are polite. Please, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, thank you. Those kinds of things are so very critical. So for the person who gets this is a great book, I think, for the parent to have and the parent to share, because even at 2, children understand words.
I agree with you fully, and I think really and truly, when you think of thank you especially, it truly is magic, because
Yes.
you're able to unlock so many doors because of gratitude, because of thankfulness.
Mhm.
You get something from someone and you say thank you, it encourages them to want to continue to pour into you.
That's correct.
Just in the morning when you wake up and you say thank you, the more you say thank you, the more you're given things to say thank you for. So thank you truly is magical, and it's something that children should learn and parents should always be reminded of. Anytime you feel like you're going through a difficult situation, no matter what it is, no matter what challenge comes your way, I have found that the real magic in life is to just say thank you, knowing that it's not happening to you but for you, as Les Brown would say. And I would always reflect on that it's all happening in your favor, no matter what.
You're so right. Gratitude is amazing indeed. But you know, now I'm 2. I like that one because oftentimes children, for whatever reason, tend to think that you just increase in by 1 year, they've suddenly become so big and so old. So now I'm 2. What within the book itself? What are you approaching there? What subjects are you looking at? Now I'm 2.
Well, now I'm 2, it's really focusing on all the new things that at this age, this milestone, children are able to do. I like to focus always on positive words. So I will say terrific twos. Let's celebrate terrific twos. And it's about teaching. That's my son! It's about teaching children to celebrate. I love how you all did that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, how could you look at that face and not smile?
Exactly.
And usually, especially I think within the Caribbean, we have this way at times in which a child does something and we would say something like, you hadn't. But instead,
Yes.
what we should be saying is, I love how you're exploring, but try this instead. You know, it may take more time to use the positive words because sometimes that positive description, it is lengthier than busting a quick word.
Yes.
And we need to be very cautious of the words that we're saying because that's what we're speaking into the lives of our children. So now I'm 2, it's a celebration of this milestone of a child turning 2 and also playing on words that they would like and making it very rhymey because it's something, as a parent, when I'm reading this to my son, I'm like singing it. You know, I'm like,
yes.
Oh, now you 2, look at all that you can do, and rhyming with it, and really getting into character and making these funny songs. And that's what we have to do as parents. Use those opportunities when we're reading with our children to let our hair down, to really relax and get into full character.
Yes, yes, you're so right. Which makes me ask the question, what's your foundation in all of this? Because you're telling some wonderful tales and you're teaching some wonderful lessons, but what's your experience in all of this as a writer, for sure?
As a writer, what I have realized is that words truly shape your world. Your words are your wand, and you can use your words too as your sword. If you just take the word words, take that S and put it to the beginning and it becomes your sword. So we have to be very careful because words could be something that we use to fight various challenges that we come with in our life. And this is why we have to be so careful, as the song would go, careful little ears what you hear, careful little eyes what you see, careful little mouth what you say. That is true. And as a writer, I'm happy that I've always been an optimist because it's not until probably a decade or even more of my writing that my husband brought it to my attention with a poem I wrote just before we got married, and I placed on a plaque and I gave to him. And when he looked at it about a decade later, he said, Michelle, do you realize you've written our life into being?
Wow.
I said, what do you mean? And when he showed it to me, I started to go through all of my journals. I started to go through my diaries. I started to go through my notebooks, and I realized you are always manifesting with the words that you speak. And I realized you want a better life, speak better words. So when the subconscious became conscious, I did it intentionally and deliberately. understanding how powerful words are. Life and death truly is in the power of your tongue. You're speaking, you're shaping your world into being.
Wow. That's a powerful, powerful exhortation this morning, indeed, Michelle. And then the third book, Responsible Rosanna. Responsible Rosanna requires that turbulent teen, I suppose, to now take on life a whole lot differently. Talk to me about the book.
Responsible Rosanna. This is actually based on, as I said, my third child, which would be my second daughter. And she truly is extremely responsible. Every time I read this, I say, wow, I'm so happy with this. Oh, that's my sweetheart. But Responsible Rosanna is a great example of her. This is what she does every day. And I'm always in amazement. And I think because this child also came at a point in time when I understood the power of words, from that moment, I was extremely cautious, not only with what I said, but what I would allow others to say. You know, the tanties, the aunties, the nenens, the grannies. Careful now, not my child. And always replace any negative word with a positive. So I would say things like, oh no, she's very responsible. Oh no, she's intelligent. She needs time to think. And I've seen that taken shape in so many ways, not just with my children, but my nieces, nephews, and other children that I've had the honor and privilege of being in contact with. So Responsible Rosanna. This is a clear description of this sweet child known as Faith Elizabeth. She would wake up in the morning without me having to say anything. She would say her prayers, she would brush her teeth, she would have a meal to eat. And I know even now, although I am not at home, she's doing just this with her dad, her brother, at this very time. She would be up before sunrise. And this is just a look, a glimpse of what her day or her weekends would be like.
That is such powerful writing that you've put together there to honor your children and but also to share with others. And already our folks on social media are commenting about you. They're congratulating you on the work that you've written so far. And I think for parents today who want to get copies of these books because they can truly help them help their children as well, how can we access your work?
Okay, if you wish to access this work, if you're in Trinidad and Tobago, it's available at Sharon's. And also online, anyone around the world will be able to purchase it by heading to Amazon. You just type in Michelle Borrell and the name of either of these books, and Borrell is B-O-R-E-L, and you'll be able to access it on Amazon or any of the other books that I am a part of in any way.
Yes, her name is Michelle Borrell, B-O-R-E-L, and search for her on Amazon and you can get a copy of any or all of the books. Collect them all, as we've been telling you all morning long. But you know, by day she's a broadcaster and everything else. She's a mother all through the day as well. She's all of those things all in one. Indeed. Sit against it. And can you now move your camera if you don't mind, because I'm curious as to what's happening on the streets of Trinidad and Tobago this morning. Michelle, can you do that for us?
What would you like me to do?
To show me the bands, Michelle. Can you show us?
Oh!
Yes!
Let me see.
She's a radio host, broadcaster. Just a peek at what's happening outside the window.
Are you seeing this?
Let me see. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. There they are going by. Look at you, Trinidadians, juveing so bright and early on the Monday morning. Michelle, thank you so very much for joining us this morning. I congratulate you on the work you've already produced, and you will continue to produce as your husband has already manifested in you too, to say that you shall be, and so you shall be indeed. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Have a great one. Thank you. Love you, Barbados.
Bye-bye. Michelle Borrell is her name. She's the author of those 3 books, Magic Words with Max, words like thank you and please, excuse me, and all of those kinds of things. Now I'm 2, and some of those, tracking some of the things that at 2 years old, those milestones, and celebrating those milestones, and then having a responsible child and encouraging that child to continue to be responsible through the book Responsible Rosanna. It's great. It's by Michelle Borrell. We're taking a break right here, but before we do, let's just tell you who is that person we're celebrating today as we continue in the month of February to celebrate the excellence of people of color, black people indeed. And who shall we celebrate today in black excellence? We're celebrating this man. He's a Barbadian, as a matter of fact. His name, if you're ready for me, is Alan Emptage. Alan Emtage is his name. I'm sure for a number of you it's very, very familiar. Why? Because he's a Bajan-Canadian computer scientist who conceived and implemented the first ever version of Archie, a pre-web internet search engine for locating material in public FTP archives. Alan was born here. He's the son of Sir Stephen and Lady Emtage. He attended high school at Harrison College, where he graduated at the top of his class, winning the Barbados Scholarship. He's a computer scientist who conceived, as I told you, that web-based internet search engine for locating material in public FTP archives. It is widely considered the world's first internet search engine. Black History Month, we're celebrating this morning the achievement of Barbadian Alan Emtage. We're going to take a break right here. I'll have the news when we come right back.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Matchback Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for a new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 2 minutes after 7 o'clock now. One of the major developments coming out of the recently concluded 44th CARICOM Heads of Government Summit is the participation and commitment in the region of the Afrexim Bank. That's according to Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM, David Comishong. He says the bank's president, Dr. Benedict Oke-Orama, came with his full team and outlined concrete and dynamic proposals for its relations with CARICOM.
They are financing studies to create a Caribbean export-import bank. We are looking at how we could use their Pan-African payments and settlement scheme as a mechanism for facilitating trade right across our region. You would recall we used to have something called the CARICOM Multilateral Clearing Facility. It collapsed in 1980. And since then, we have not had a regional mechanism for financing trade so that, countries, CARICOM countries, don't have to be looking for hard currencies to trade among themselves, So they're also working with they're also going to be working with the Caribbean Development Fund, the CARICOM Development Fund, to produce a new financing instrument to finance development in the Caribbean, a Caribbean development bond. They are investing in a geothermal plant for St. Kitts and Nevis. It is just magnificent to see how much ground we can cover together when Africa and the Caribbean come together. And it has now happened, and it has happened in a very concrete and substantial way.
The cap on gasoline and diesel has been removed. The disclosure from the Ministry of Energy and Business, which says a full VAT of 17.5% will be reinstated. Introduced in August last year, the cap represented a reduction of 35 cents on gas and 25 cents on diesel and was to be in place until the end of January this year. It was aimed at shielding consumers from the full increase of refined petroleum products. The announcement comes as Barbadian consumers are this morning paying more for gasoline and diesel. Kerosene remains unchanged. Gasoline has gone up by 14 cents to $4.08 a litre, while diesel increased by 20 cents to $3.85 a litre. Kerosene continues to be $2.25 a litre. Well, several $1 million are earmarked for government to further develop its Youth Advanced Core program. That's according to the Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn, who's been telling Barbadians what to expect ahead of the estimates of revenue and expenditure debate, which starts today. Mr. Strawn says government is focused on driving growth in the next financial year, which includes about $30 million for construction of the geriatric hospital and $9 million to improve facilities for the Youth Advanced Core program.
That program was intended to ramp up to 2,000 over the course of 2 years, so therefore the residential facilities are critically important for the government being able to make a dent in those large numbers of people who may have left school over the last few years without any certification or opportunities, as a mechanism to help bolster what's happening with the other tertiary and technical vocational facilities.
Mr. Strawn says another $30 million will also be rolled out for roadworks, while emphasis will continue to be placed on digitization.
You've seen the launch of the digital payments systems, so the banks and the credit unions have launched the real-time automated clearinghouse, which will see payments happen instantaneously. And as that ramps up during the year, we expect to see obviously then greater efficiency between government and citizen, businesses and citizens, B2B transactions, so that takes a lot of the time to cash checks, the lines in the banks and stuff. We hope that citizens will be able to take that up so that we can see people spending their time much more efficiently.
Well, government is projecting $4.2 billion in spending for the next financial year and revenue of $3.5 billion. As Mr. Strawn explains, the estimates of revenue and expenditure is a way to allow for greater transparency in relation to government spending and will involve members of Parliament and public servants reporting to Parliament and the public. According to him, it is not the budget in the way people know it. That, he says, will come after in a presentation by the Prime Minister. Well, that's a look at our news. Until now, we'll have more news coming up at 12 noon in the CBC Newsday. Morning Barbados continues in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb, and together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
You just live for the past near 4 years. I've been living with constant hip pain, and it is not easy. Sleepless nights, a lot of days where you have to sometimes miss work because I'm still working, but you know, you have to miss work sometimes because of the extreme pain and the extreme pressure on the hip and the back, and it's a nightmare sometimes when you have to try to do everyday tasks, like even to stand up to wash dishes, Pearson, to wash the very dishes that you ate out of. This be a task sometimes.
And it robs you of your dignity, because even to take a basic shower is painful in itself.
Yes, it is, very much so, because if not for the bars in the bathroom, I can't move around as I would like, because you know it just takes a lot out of you. It leaves you a lot tired, because you go to sleep in pain, you wake up in pain. You have to go through the entire day in pain.
And other Rommel, it's the same for you.
Yes,
day in, night out, pain.
And sleepless nights.
And sleepless nights. On a scale of 1 to 10, how painful is it? 10 being the maximum pain.
About 9.
About 9. Yeah. That is excruciating. I know what it feels to have a toothache, how it could drive you crazy to have hip pain in itself.
This could drive you crazy also, because it is not normal. At least I know what normal. I used to walk without the aid of crutches, so I know what normal feel like, and this is not normal. You know, and it tasking every day to just get up and go use these. If you got a gap in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, you gotta, you know, and it's inhumane to me. It's inhumane.
Yeah,
that's what I see.
How long you've been living with this condition now?
Well, I needed my surgery for like 14 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have to
you're
stop.
still mid-30s.
Yes, please.
That's a lot, and so there's a lot you still need to have to raise to help you with the surgery, because you guys are trying to raise over 160,000 Barbados dollars.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
And where are you now with that target?
Well, currently due to a cash injection of $3,000, we are looking at roughly about $8,000. That's it.
You need a further 8,000?
No.
You're only at 8,000?
We're only at 8,000.
Of 160,000?
Yes, please.
They need $152,000 more Barbados. They need your help. They need our help. It's not you, because we're all in this together. And so, can you imagine for just a moment these two young men in the prime of their lives having to sit here in pain? And I can see the pain in their eyes. And can you imagine yourself sitting where you are at the moment and feeling just a slight niggle, and you cry out, this is what they live with, this is what they sleep with, this is what they wake up with, and that's why we need to help. We desperately need to help. So how can we help? How can we donate into the fund?
Well, we currently have an account with the Barbados Cooperative Credit Union. I'll share it with you. Just give me a minute to go on your phone. And even if you see us on the street and you want to help out, just hail us. Yeah, hold that. I mean, anything as much as $5, $10, anything so would help. You know, it is more than grateful, because you know that everybody can't give, and so you're just looking for some help wherever you can. But if you can, and you are in the area where you can donate a little more, or you know, just give. And the account number is 0000160079. Let me go over that again. 0000, that's 4 zeros, 160079.
You got the account number for us? This is with which union?
Barbados Public Workers Credit Union.
The Public Workers Credit Union. That's where you can go to make your donation, and you can make as many donations as you possibly can. And if you're online with them as well, you can make your donation online. If you can walk into the place as well, Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union, you can make your donations. If you see them on the street, you make your donations, because they're trying to raise $160,000. They're only at 8,000 so far. There's a long way still to go, but we can help them get there to being back on their feet again without pain and completely independent. And I'm sure at times, you know, when you stop to think about it, because to bear the pain, Rommel, further away from me, how do you deal with your pain? How do you have to be on medication? How do you manage it?
Well, I used to take medication, but then I stopped because it caused me ulcers in my stomach, like a lot of stomach pains. So I stopped taking medication altogether, and I just bite my teeth when it comes to the pain.
Yikes.
That's all I could do.
Who has children?
Me, I have 2 children.
You have 2 children. Yeah. What do your children say to you when they see you the way you are?
My son don't like to see me in this position at all, because and he's 12 years old. He teens, and he like to go out, and he want his daddy to be there sometimes, and so as a father, in every way you could go and with this condition, you know? And
sometimes you just wish you could get up and go play football with him.
A lot of
you
things
know, do
I'm
the things
out.
that he wants you to do with him.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of sports with him. I used to take him on jet ski, all types of things, like before this started to set in. And I know he missed a lot of things that we missed a lot of things together. And I want to get back there so I could be there for him. And
this surgery can help you get back there.
Yes, please.
But the other Ramel, now you work.
Yeah.
And so going into the office in itself sometimes has to be difficult, because unless they understand, they don't understand.
Well, that is true. And where I'm working, they're very understanding. But, you know, sometimes just to get into the car, get out of the car, to get going. You see, sometimes where my right hip is concerned, that is the one that is the most depleted. So sometimes that sticks into a position. So that is bone on bone sticking, and yeah, it is extremely painful to actually get up and move. And one, I don't know if it is one of his greatest nightmares too, is what if something happens? You know, in a what if situation where you have to get up and go suddenly,
you can't.
We can't. we are stuck. We have to get up and let our body settle in, and then go.
And as you go, work through the pain as you go,
exactly.
Just talking your head. You know, I've had bursitis. I have cried with bursitis, but that goes away. Yours is not leaving you.
No.
Osteoarthritis is not leaving you.
No.
And the only relief you can have now is this hip replacement surgery, which will ease the pain and help you back on your feet again.
Yes,
but there's a measure of therapy that will have to obviously follow thereafter.
Yes.
And all of these funds are to help you through all of that.
Yes, please.
And so, folks, is the account in a particular name? Is it in the name?
It's in both of our names.
So, Ramel Griffith.
Yes, please.
Right. So, the account number is on your screen. You go to the Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union. The account number is 0000 160079. 0000160079 at the Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union. Go in your numbers, go with your checkbook, go with your purse and wallets, go with large sums of cash. There's still $152,000 short of bringing relief to both of them. And so we'd like very much for you to be able to help them get back on their feet again. I can't appeal any more than for all of us every day to put in some money. I know it's tough for all of us, but it's tougher for them too. These are 2 young men who have families and who want to be able to raise those families in love and to be able to do the things that we take for granted. Let's help them get back on their feet again. The Ramels, Ramel and Ramel Griffith, they are indeed. Give today. Give as much as you possibly can. If you see them on the street, take a look at their faces. You will see them on the street because they are independent and they will continue to be independent members of our society. They're not shying away from anyone. So when you see them, you make a donation to them. Give, because every cent goes to bringing smiles back to their faces. You can see it. They're not even smiling because it's difficult to smile at times, right?
Yes, very, very difficult to smile.
Very, very difficult. Someone wants to know, they're overseas, Vereen Walker. How about they who live overseas, how can they help?
Well, I'm not sure if the account will thing, but I will always check in on that, and I will let Mornin Barbados know if that would accommodate.
Yeah, that would really be useful indeed. Yes, if you're somewhere overseas, or you can send a check in the mail, and they'll be happy to receive your check as well.
Yes, please.
And if you wish, you know, just look for them. What's the contact number if anybody wants to contact? Who's the main man in this here?
Well, we're both we're both in it together. So yeah, my number is 263-8227.
263-8227. 263-8227. You can call Ramel with One L. With the two L's. Rommel will definitely be able to respond to any query or concern you might have, and he can work through with you. If you're somewhere else in the world and you want to make this a whole lot easier, how you can do so as well. Gentlemen, I could only wish you well. I could only wish you well. I could only appeal to Barbadians to really give generously to this particular cause, because we want to see smiles on your faces again. We want to see you getting out there and enjoying your children again, Rommel. We want to see you going to work without having to worry. We want for you to be able to get up and go as quickly as we get up and go. And we want you to take for granted some of the things that we take for granted too. You know, to just enjoy life, to be able to be moving at the pace that makes you feel dignified as men.
Yes.
And so I want to appeal to everyone, every organizations included, because oftentimes we rely on the individual, and the individuals, we thank you, but organizations as well so into the lives of these two young men. These are two young contributing members of our community, and they need our help right now. The Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union is the location to which you go, and the account number is in the name of Rommel Griffith, and the number is 0000-1600-79, or you can give a call to 263-8227. I thank you already for your generosity. I thank you for your help and assistance, and so too do you guys, right?
Yes, please. Thanks to anybody that donates, anybody that will see us and contribute in any sort of way. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because we know that that little bit will go a long way in our effort.
Rommel and Rommel Griffith, needing your help, folks. The number is still on your screen, so take a look, write it down, and go today. Thank you, gentlemen. I wish you well.
Thank you as well.
You're welcome. Morning Barbados takes a break here. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade, or come in and sign up for our new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bring
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And I'm watching the guys painstakingly make their way across the studio floor, and it just reminds us all, just but for the grace of God go I. And because just but for the grace of God go I, let's go to the Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union today and make your donation. And make your donation in large sums, because $152,000 still need to be raised in order to be able to bring relief from the pain that these two young men are enduring. And after all that time, they've finally exited the studio. That's the length of time it's taken them to move across from where I sit to the door to exit the studio. Can you do that? Can you imagine yourself taking that length of time to get to the door? And they took their time. All right. Time for us now, 24 minutes after 7 o'clock, to turn our attention to one of our favorite segments. Indeed, we're looking at love and relationships and everything else between. And our relationship coach, Dr. Denise Charles, joins us. Dr. Charles, good morning.
Good morning, Pearson. How are you doing?
Well, I concur with my technical director. You look really lovely today, indeed.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, we want to look at something that, a conversation ensued after our last segment within us here. We all were talking. We said, sometimes there's these odd couples that you see. She's short, he's tall. he's fat. You know, those kinds of things. And you wonder yourself, what do they see in each other? And there's a bit of, in our heads, there's a bit of a mixed match. You know, there's something quite right. What do you say about that situation? Is it that we're being unfair and judgmental?
Yes, you are. My husband is a whole foot taller than I am, you know. The thing is, Pearson, this whole issue of compatibility can be a very subjective thing. And as you rightly said, or you rightly asked, it can be very judgmental, because for those of us looking on the outside, we can assume these two aren't well suited. She's a professional, he's not. She's highly educated, he's not. He makes lots of money, she doesn't. He's come from a really good family, she does not. And we can make those kinds of subjective comparisons between two individuals who might be very well suited. And not only is that sometimes made as an external judgment, unfortunately, sometimes people who do find that chemistry with someone else, sometimes they make that unfair judgment on the relationship themselves. And they're concerned about what other people are going to think, what their family is going to think, what their friends or their work colleagues are going to think about this person they have chosen, or that this person that they're showing an interest in. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be compatible, but I'm saying we have to be careful what we're looking at to measure compatibility. Compatibility for me shouldn't be something about age, although I think there's a limit. That's my personal take on it. You know, it shouldn't be about external, peripheral things like that. What he looks like, what she looks like. I think when it comes to compatibility, we have to go way deeper. We have to look at things like values. We have to look at things like our beliefs. We have to look at things like our lifestyle, or the type of lifestyles we want to have. Those kinds of things. Something as basic as whether we will want children together. You know, I think we have to look at these types of things when we look at compatibility in terms of two people building a life together. And at the same time, Pearson, I think that opposites also attract. There's nothing wrong with being completely different from the person that you're in love with.
Nothing wrong, except that when you hit the street, people are going to be talking. you got to live with that.
But
you have to live with that.
People. We shouldn't be living our lives for people. Okay. We have to be secure in ourselves and know what we want for our relationship. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, if you're in a family and you're close with your family, you're close with your parents and so on, you want to know that the person you have chosen is someone that they would approve of. Okay, yes, so yes. I mean, humanly speaking, we want the approval of our close friends. We want the approval more so of our family, of our parents. We want to know that they like the person that we also like. But sometimes that may not happen for whatever reason. Sometimes parents have their prejudices. You know, think about it. You want to be an artist, but your mother wants you to be a doctor.
Yes.
You want to be a therapist, but your parents would prefer that you be a lawyer. Because we attach a certain level of prestige to certain occupations.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, people want to feel a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. They want to feel connected with their purpose. They want to feel that they're not just doing a job, but they're actually doing the thing that they were created for. Now, I look at relationships very much like that. And, you know, personally, I like to pivot to my story. When you read my story, you're going to recognize that Gabriel and I are so thankful that God plucked him out of St. Lucia, because he's from St. Lucia, and brought us together in Barbados. And we are so thankful that we believe God actually brought us together. We don't believe that we were together by mistake. So I'm saying, when you have that sense in terms of your relationship of being purposeful, you know, sometimes we don't think, a lot of people talk about life purpose and they're only connected to their job. They only connect it to the thing that they do, that they get up and go to, the job they get up and go to, or the thing that they're in as an entrepreneur. People don't connect purpose to relationships, but we do. We believe very strongly in finding the right person that you were intended for. Now, I know this is a debate. Not everybody believes in the one, in the concept of the one. Some people believe there may be several ones. There may be others that you could have gotten married to, and there were other people I may have been able to get married to if I had gone in that direction. You know, but I think there is something called purpose. And I think when you're really connected to God and that sense of finding who you are and who you're meant to be, that for a very large part, the partner you choose will be a part of that. You know, so Well, we do understand that there should be lots that you share in common. There's nothing wrong also with being different from the person that you found yourself in love with.
Sometimes we ask ourselves, well, I'm sorry, I have to come back to the physical because we spend a lot of time in the physical space. And you look at someone and you're thinking, but there's a deformity, can't you see? Can't you see that deformity? How are you going to deal with it? What would the children be like? Knowing what it is that you're confronting. What if that trait triggers right through the children to come? And you ask, how could you put up with each other? I know it's being judgmental, but it's the reality. It's what people do and go through minute by minute. So what advice would you give to that person who's struggling with words being told in their ears, he's not for you, she's not for you because of this deformity of some sort? How do you manage yourself in all of that?
I think you have to look inward and decide what you want for yourself, number one. Now, if there is a huge challenge, like a physical illness or a deformity, as you're putting it, remember deformities could also be emotional and unseen.
Yes.
Right? If you're going to take it to the full extent. But if there's something that is troubling you, really troubling you as the person in the relationship, you have to make that decision as to whether your love is big enough to overcome that. And you're talking about deformity, Pearson, but what about issues like race? Because we know that people still struggle with race. As much as we would like to believe that it is something that is finished with, it is really not. And people make judgments about if they see a black man and a white woman or vice versa. You know, they begin to think, are they well suited? What about the family? What about the children? How will they manage, etc.? And we have to be realistic about these things, yes, but at the same time, when you are in that relationship, you have to make a decision about what you really want. And if you think that your love is big enough to surmount all the challenges that you're going to come up against, all the questions that you will be asked, then go for it. Because at the end of the day, you're not living your life for someone else. You're living your life for yourself. And as I said, that sense of purpose in your relationship and why you're together has to be paramount in your mind. There's a reason why the two of you are coming together. And even though you may be thinking, or others may put at you the idea that the children will suffer and so on and so forth, think about the value that those children will learn when they see your unconditional love, when they understand that, well, mommy and daddy, in spite of these challenges, in spite of the differences between the two of them, they came together and they have such a sure foundation in their love, and their love has made a difference. They may not articulate it like that, but it's a wonderful value that you're teaching your children about the power of love and the power of love to overcome all odds and all differences. I think that's greater than any difference that you could find between two people.
And you're right. I'm not going to dispute that at all. You're quite right on that score. You know, fine. We're in a relationship. It might appear to, at the beginning, you get the I told you so, because eventually something happens, whether it is that there's a change in status owing to, finances or any other thing, whether it's other circumstances. How do you live with yourself knowing I told you so, I told you so?
The thing is, Pearson, anything can happen to anybody. If you follow the lifestyles of any of those rich and famous people, who both of them are very wealthy, both of them are very famous, don't they get divorced a million times?
Yes.
You know, so really and truly bad things can happen to anyone in any relationship, but sometimes it has nothing to do with that thing called compatibility or incompatibility. Sometimes it just has to do with the maturity levels of the people. It has to do with whether people are willing to sacrifice for love, whether people are, living their lives with integrity and honesty in that relationship. So the challenges that happen to relationships happen to anyone. And I think we need to understand that and not judge that two people have fallen apart because they were seemingly incompatible. I feel very, very strongly about this. And I think that individuals who are in relationships have to make that judgment call for themselves. I think they have to make that judgment. We who are looking on from the outside, if we do love them and they are a part of our family or they are our friends, we owe it to them to support them in their decision, even if we didn't like that decision. And invariably, even though there is that story of I told you so, Pearson, there may also be that story of, see, look, we beat the odds.
Yes,
you thought we weren't going to last, but we've been together for 25 years. We've been together for 20 or 10 years. We beat the odds. So there, told you so.
There's also that story indeed. But sometimes the heart is not so smart. The heart cannot be always smart. Sometimes the heart only sees and feels what it wants to feel.
The heart wants what it wants.
Yes, at that moment.
Yeah.
Because it felt good. But the reality is, at some point you got to wake up. You have to wake up because when you turn and you realize, wait, who's this next to me after all? It's not quite what I had dreamt or seen in my imagination at all.
That's a different conversation, Pearson.
Yes,
That's a different
I know.
conversation.
So you
because love, as we said in one of our previous conversations, love always wants what is best for the other person. And sometimes you want to be with someone for all the wrong reasons. You want to be with someone because they have status. You want to be with someone because they have money. Because you have insecurity issues. You don't feel very strongly or good about yourself. So you need to have someone to bolster how you feel about yourself. You want an image. You want an Instagram life. You're not necessarily in it for the long haul. You're in it. You're making the decision. You're making your relationship decisions for all the wrong reasons. And invariably, if you have made your relationship decisions for the wrong reasons, you're going to fall apart at some point. At some point, that fairy tale is going to explode, and you're going to find yourself in a different space. So I think when that happens and you wake up one morning and say, wait, what's going on here, you know? Then you have to look within yourself and examine why you were in that relationship in the first place. Are you really going to be honest with yourself? But when love is the motivating factor, and I'm not talking about infatuation, I'm not talking about lust, I'm not talking about obsession, I'm talking about real love. When love is motivating that relationship, then Pearson, that is going to empower you to go through hell and high water to be with that person.
Indeed so.
And to make it work.
Indeed so. When is the next live?
I think we're going to do a live next week. I am really, really busy this week after hours, so I'm going to be doing another live next week, probably next week, Thursday. But I'll keep you posted.
Keep me posted indeed. Dr. Denise Charles, thank you so very much as always, our relationship coach, joining us this morning. And sometimes, yes, the heart is not so smart, but if you have that true love, you can work through hell and high water to get that love working indeed. Thank you so much indeed.
Have a great day.
Likewise. We'll see Dr. Denise Charles, if it be God's will, next week, Monday, for more on our relationship experience with our relationship coach. A break, and when we come back, we're celebrating success because we brought home some gold from Canada. Stay with us in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
22 minutes now to 8 o'clock. You know, it took fewer seconds for them really to get to the finish line. We're talking with some gold medalists who left Barbados here just earlier in February to head off to Canada as part of the Extreme Velocity Track and Field Club. They went to compete and they brought home the bacon indeed. Joining us are gold medalists in Amani Maskell-Beckles, Tonique Fleming, Jeremy Small and Zachary Alexander. To each of you, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Congratulations, you're now gold medalists. Let's start with you, Amani. How was it? How was it?
It was a very good experience. I really did enjoy being away on tour, and yeah, it was a good experience.
It was a great experience. And so, which event was it that you got your gold medal in?
I actually got my gold in the 100, in the 400 and the 200.
4 and...
Oh dear.
Okay, and were you competing against other people from where were the other competitors from in your race?
I would say Canada. Yeah, Canada.
Okay, they were mostly... Or from various schools in Canada. All right. Tonique, what about you? How was it standing on the podium receiving your gold?
It was a very good experience, and it was my first time traveling, so I was very nervous, but overall it was very, very, very good.
So now having taken your first trip, you will do it again, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. What event did you win your gold medal in?
I won my gold medal in the 200 meters.
In the 200 meters. And so when you were called to the line and you were told, on your marks, get set, packs. Talk to me about what went through your head and your mind.
I was just so nervous. I tried not to fall apart. And I never experienced an indoor track, so I was just trying to not stand on the line and stuff. Yeah, I execute properly for once.
And execute. There you are, celebrating, no doubt, and having a grand old time there in Canada. But Jeremy, let's turn to you now, Jeremy. Talk to me a little bit about how it went for you, Jeremy.
It was a very good experience. It was my first time competing at international meet, and I really enjoyed it. As Tony would have said, we were a little nervous. I didn't really know what to expect at times, but it definitely was an experience that I would not take. I would do again, 100%. Just trying to keep focused, trying to stay concentrated on what you are out there to do. But it was a very good experience.
So, what did your coach tell you about what to expect?
Well, they just told me relax. I made the preparation. I know what I have to do, and just stay focused on what I have to do.
What event was
That's
it?
what I did.
What event did you win gold in?
I won gold in the 60 meters.
60 meters. By the time you start, it's done. By the time you start, it's pretty much finished. What was it? What time did you complete your 60 meters in?
7.05 seconds.
Wow, that's fast. That's really, really fast. Zachary, how was it for you?
It was fun, and it was a great experience. I had a good time with the coaches, the athletes, also from Canada. It's just amazing. I would do it again, as Jeremy said, with the same people, same atmosphere, but it was fantastic.
What event was it that you competed in?
I did the 400 meter.
400? Yeah. And that meant going around that track twice? Was it a 200 meter track that you had to go around twice?
Yes, it was.
But running on our track here on land is one thing, but indoor, how different is it?
It's totally completely different for more than one reason. The air quality is a lot different. The air is a lot drier and a lot colder. So as a 400 meter runner, when you get to the finish line, your throat is dry, you're dizzy, you essentially see the light, and the banks are different. The first thing you go wrong is no problem. It's the second time, that last bank, you tired, you fight for the line. Me personally, I almost fell over, tilting, and I'm a big guy, so to pull my frame up, it was fun, but afterwards, it was like no amount of training in Barbados could prepare you for what was about to happen to your body when you finish that 400.
So that's the advice you would give to anyone then who wants to consider going off to Canada to take part in the indoor games. What advice would you give?
I would prepare yourself for the cold. When we went, it wasn't as cold as it was a week earlier, but prepare yourself for the cold, drink a lot of water, and the one thing they don't tell you on the line is when you finish your race, for your first time, have water on hand. Because if you don't have water on hand, you're going to feel if you're going to die. So please have water on hand.
Listen, you have Jeremy smiling and laughing at you, man. Jeremy, you felt it was the same way too?
Yes, I felt the exact same way. I mean, I didn't have to run the 400, but I mean, I saw him after the race, and I could tell you that take his advice. That's all I could say.
What about you, Amani and Tonique? Did you both also felt dry, as if you really had to have some water? You know, those kinds of emotions.
Definitely. After that 400, I felt like I ran so fast and I was out of breath, but I had no air. I couldn't breathe properly at all.
Wow. And Tonique, you're nodding because obviously you felt the same way.
Yes, we did the odds of money. I was on the floor.
So, Tony, talk to me a little bit. When you landed in Canada, and it was your first trip, as you said, you had to now get accustomed to the track. You had to get accustomed to the venue. How long did it take you to be able to really settle in your mind and your body to know that, hey, I'm going to do this? How long did that take you?
It didn't take long actually, because the track actually feels very nice. When you run, you get feedback. And so like the pains you will feel in Barbados on the hard track, we definitely did not feel it on that indoor track. So it felt really nice, and it really pumped you up to compete.
So you'll do it again?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Amani's laughing. Amani, would you do it again as well?
Definitely. I would love to go back right now.
He'd love to go back right now. I love it. But congratulations, guys. I really want to commend you. Look at that. Look, whose race is this?
This is mine.
All right. Amani, talk to me through the race. Describe what I'm watching right now. Go ahead. And there you are. There you are coming around.
Pardon?
That's you at the head, at the lead?
Yes, please.
All right. And so did you feel the others behind you while you were going?
I could hear their footsteps, so like I know they were tracking fast behind.
And now you're heading for the finish line here. Were you feeling all tired?
Definitely. Like as I said before, I really couldn't breathe properly.
There you go. There you go, winning the race indeed and representing Barbados and doing it for Barbados, doing it for your track club as well. And I'm sure the relationship you had with your coach was able to help you over the finish line to get there and to get it all done. I want to congratulate each of you. You've made us all very, very proud, representing your club, representing your family, representing yourselves, representing this island in Canada just recently. Congratulations on your gold medal awards and your different respective disciplines. We look forward to even greater things from you really. So, and which one is it going to the Carifta Games?
Listen.
Amani. Tonique, not you?
Hopefully.
Hopefully real soon. What about you, Jeremy and Zachary? Are you hoping to get to qualify for Carifta as well?
Yes, please.
Yes.
All right. So we're looking forward to seeing all of you representing Barbados in Carifta coming up very, very soon indeed. Thank you all the best indeed going forward, and well done, well done, well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome indeed. There are Amani Maskell-Beckles, Tonique Fleming, Jeremy Small and Zachary Alexander, 4 gold medalists who represented Barbados recently as they went up as part of the contingent of the Extreme Velocity Track and Field Club. We're going to come back and talk to the coaches in just a moment. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're celebrating the success of the Extreme Velocity Track and Field Club just back from Canada, where they performed as we expected very, very well indeed. Also receiving medals of bronze was Rehan Price, and silver medals went to Niobe Holder, who we met earlier, and Sean Raphael as well. What a team indeed. And so the head coaches Glenn Williams and Jamal Miller, along with the team manager Veron Eiffel, join us now. Good morning to each of you.
Good morning.
All right, Glenn, you were on last time with us. Glenn, you delivered. How does it feel having delivered?
It feels great. I'm so proud of these young athletes who took this venture with us. We went to Canada knowing that we will do very well, and each and every one of them delivered. Just to add a little bit more to what Amani and the others said, in some of these races, they had 91 competitors in some of these races, and our athletes finished in the top 30. In Veron and Amani's 400 meters, there were 27 athletes. Amani was first, Veron was 7th overall. In Tonic's and Niobe's race, there were 35 athletes competing in that 200, in the 60 meter, sorry. And Tonic was on 12th and Niobe was 14th overall. So I think that that's a great achievement for these young people.
And so you set yourself those targets when you left the island to be able to achieve these kinds of successes so that the next time you'll improve on that. Who's sitting next to you?
This is Veron Eiffel.
Veron, how was it for you? You were the team manager?
An athlete.
And also an athlete. So talk to me about managing the team. How was it for you in that role?
It was a great experience to be a first team manager overseas. Keeping everything in check. Everybody cooperated good, I must say. So it was a great experience in a leadership role. In a leadership role,
so you'll do it again, right?
Yes, please.
For sure. Jamal Miller, you two were one of the coaches who went off with the team. What was that experience like for you?
Well, I didn't go off with the team. I actually reside in Canada.
Oh, you are in Canada.
This is the origin of Extreme Velocity. When I started the club back in 2011 right here. And it's always been a dream of us to have the first international club out of Barbados. And normally we come to Barbados, but this is the first time as a unit we were able to come up to Canada. And these young people representing themselves and Extreme Velocity very well. It was a beautiful thing to see. Very beautiful.
Talk to me about the partnership Barbados and Canada and why you think it's so important to have that kind of experience for our athletes.
Well, we have a long tradition in Barbados of sending athletes off to the US for scholarships and whatnot. And the biggest thing is that most of these athletes have never competed indoor, and the NCAA indoor is the first chapter of their life. So a chance to not only compete on an indoor surface, but get an experience of different weather, different climate is something that I think is always important for any athlete that plans to go off to college or pursue professional track and field. And they got most of the athletes have said it was very different to what they've done before. It was an eye-opening experience, and there's many things you have to deal with while you're competing.
Indeed. So Glenn, I heard them also say, at the end of a race, they felt as if they had to catch a breath because they felt so dry. Were they adequately prepared, do you think, and mentally in terms of facing the conditions?
Yes, I think they were adequately prepared. Indoor, the air is much more dense than the warmer air that we would have outdoor. So that's going to have an effect on your breathing. And I believe that's what they were talking about. Before the athletes left Barbados to go to Canada, I briefed them on that feeling, but it's not something that I can reinforce. They had to experience that for themselves. Being an athlete myself and competing indoor before, I tried to give them as much information as possible heading off to Canada that they will be prepared for competition, but they had to experience that for themselves.
Mm-hmm. What happens now? We've had this level of success at this level. What happens now, next?
Well, the next step would be...
For me, yeah, for me, we've always been talking in Canada about, and our governing body, about bringing back our dual meets with the Caribbean. And we briefly spoke on it on one of our championships before the one last week. And I think this is the start of maybe a series that can go to the Caribbean where you have Ontario versus Barbados, Ontario versus Trinidad. We did it once before. And also, with our facility, Variety Village, is also a place where other Barbadian athletes and clubs can come and have a place to be and train and all that. And this is something I would like to see going forward to foster the sport, make the sport a better thing throughout the Caribbean and especially in Barbados.
Jamal, where you sit in Canada, you see the potential home here in Barbados. You see that we have athletes who are raw, but who are, if honed well, can be successful on the world stage. Is that truly what you see?
That is truly what I see. When most Barbadians go off to university, they normally end up in the top 25 NCAA. This is for years. This is not now. If you go back as far as Kevin Bartlett, Terry Nurse, I could keep going on. And currently, Jonathan Jones, we have Hannah Connell doing well. We always are up there. And it shows that once we get the chance outside, we can flourish. So we have to help these athletes flourish. We have to.
Veron, what about you? What do you want for your career in athletics and track and field? What do you want?
I'll be hoping to secure a scholarship and move on further in my studies also. I'm better in my times. Hopefully making a senior national team in the process.
And what are you doing to prepare yourself for those opportunities should they come?
Studying hard, training hard, listening to my coaches, performing week in, week out, and hoping for the best.
Yes, indeed, as we are hoping for the very best for you as well. So well done, team. Extreme Velocity, you have made us very, very proud as Barbadians. Indeed, you went out there, you represented us beautifully. So thank you so much, Glenn Williams, Veron Eiffel, and Jamal Miller of Extreme Velocity Track and Field Club for putting this on and for making us equally proud of your achievements as well. All the best indeed as we continue to track your success as well. Thank you.
Pearson.
Thank you, man.
Yes?
Is it possible that we can give a shout out to a few people who made this possible for us?
Very quickly, very quickly.
Yes, very quickly. We would like to start by saying thank you to the Consul General of Canada, Sonia Marvel Carter, to BTMI, to the Minister of Sport, to KFC, to the parents, and the supporters of Extreme Velocity. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome indeed. All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. All the best indeed.
Pearson.
Morning Barbados takes a break here. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Before we go, let me just remind you quickly of your need. I hope you see it the same way, to help Rommel and Rommel Griffith, both of those gentlemen. The account is in the name of Rommel Griffith. The information is right there at the bottom of your screen right now. You go to the Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union Limited to account number 0000160079. They urgently need surgery, hip replacement surgery. They both suffer from osteoarthritis, extremely painful. It took them almost 2 minutes to exit the studio from this little spot to just a oomph away from where I sit the door. And so that's because they are struggling to just walk. They're in pain constantly and they need the hip replacement surgery. They need your donations. So the account number again is 0000160079 with the Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union Limited. We thank you for your support and your generosity. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. My producer has been Nadia Foster, technical director Rowell Ford, sound engineer Christopher Blenman, and at master control has been Tamisha Green. I'm Pearson Bowen. For all of them, to each of you, we say thank you. Do come back tomorrow. We're looking forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.